In the beginning we were running from the rebels, so the street became a safe refuge, then the dust settled. But where do we start from? There is no more home. The street became a permanent abode, we call it home. With no parents, no shelter, no food, a home away from home. But where is everybody? Where is everybody when the children on the streets are crying? When they're screaming out loud, when they're being abused? Where is everybody? Where is everybody when the children on the streets are dying? When they're sick and they need urgent medical care? Where is everybody? What is the meaning of all the preaching on morality? The children freezing at night like a banana in a freezer. What is the meaning of all the rights and equality? The children growing up on their own like pomegranate in the wild. Where is everybody? 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 Where is everybody?
Where is everybody? I see nobody when I look left or right. When I look back where I am from, I see thousands of children suffering on the streets. And when I look forward, it is bleak, it is unclear. Are these children invisible? Are they too few to be noticed? Oh, are they not children enough to be children? I would like each one of us to ask the little child inside this one question. How would you feel if you were a child living on the street today? According to the United Nations report of 2014, over 150 million children live on the streets around the world. In Uganda, a country in the eastern part of Africa, over 15,000 children live on the street, and that is according to the New Vision, a Ugandan newspaper. In my hometown, Gulu, a district in the northern part of Uganda, over 1,500 children live on the street. These children have been pushed away from home due to several factors, which include but not limited to the civil war that claimed thousands of lives, alcoholism and child neglect, domestic violence, physical and sexual abuse, and child labor coupled with psychological torture, to mention but a few. These children are forced to dive off from the sinking boat straight into the ocean of life, without any swimming skills, without a life jacket, and without a surfing board. They are thrown left, right, up and down by the turbulent wave of the ocean and finally thrown into the island of isolation, exhausted, cold, hungry, homeless, and lonely. Where is everybody? In 2003, I was just a little boy about 12 years old. And I remember my mother organized for us our very last Christmas party. Because the following day she was heading for a surgery and she knew she would never return. 1 week passed by and Mom was brought back on a stretcher. She was bedridden for months. And that was the beginning of the end of my childhood joy. The light of my life went dim. I was afraid. Home was gloomy. It became sad. In my fear, I ran away. I ran away to a place where I can easily cry and find something to dry my tears. A place where I can easily express my pain. A place where I can play with my peers. And that was on the street. Most of the boys we grew up with in the neighborhood were children living on the streets because of one reason or another. So while on the street, it was fun, surprisingly. We could sing and dance. We could play together and laugh. I even learned how to play a trumpet while on the street. For a moment, I forgot the pain at home. As time went by and by, Mom became better and better. And life resumed normally. I finished school. But the boys, many of them never got the chance that I did. So most of them were consumed by the street. Some died due to drug abuse. Some died due to HIV and AIDS. And some were killed trying to steal something to fill up their empty belly. One by one, the cold hands of death plucked my friends one after another like guava fruits from a tree. So many seeds of potential and greatness right now as I speak are perishing on the street because the environment is not conducive enough for them to germinate. Where is everybody? My organization, Obeno, has a vision for a community where children living on the street and children affected by social ill develop to their full potential without discrimination or violation of their rights. So to do this, we're going to start a street academy. An academy that will bring children living on the streets and children living at home to come and learn together through creative arts. An academy that will not try to take away the children from the street, but rather bring school to the children on the street. An academy that will use art as a foundation for self-discovery and self-expression. So in the academy, we'll have children between 3 to 17 years old. And this is how we will work. We have a curriculum designed for them. So we have the visual arts and the performing arts. In the visual arts, we have things like drawing, painting, graffiti, installation, and so on and so forth. The children will learn more about themselves and their rights through the visual arts. We'll go ahead to advocate for their rights to the community by painting murals on the walls of the streets. We'll do graffiti on the walls, and in the process, the children will be learning how to do art, meanwhile sending a message to the community about their rights. Additionally, they will develop their skills and reach out to the community. Then we have the performing arts. In the performing arts, we have storytelling, we have poetry, we have music, we have dance, drama, and so on and so forth. The children will be able to speak up and share their stories, and we will use that to create a theater play, which the audience will be invited monthly to watch. They will be able to interact with the true stories of the children and understand what goes on in the lives of the children on the street. The children will also gain self-confidence and self-esteem to showcase their talents and abilities. Meanwhile, sending a message about the rights of the children to the public. To balance up the two, we have to train them through day-to-day living skills. For example, decision-making skills, communication skills, HIV and AIDS, physical and mental health, among others. We'll also take them through literacy and numeracy. We'll teach them English, Swahili, and mathematics, so they can be able to venture into their activities and learn more for themselves. And finally, we'll take them through computer literacy. Here, we'll introduce them to the basic computer skills, but later on, they will be able to learn different programs like Photoshop, Illustrator, InDesign, and develop their artistic abilities. At the end of the period with us in the Street Academy, a child can decide to take up a step in life. They will be knowing their abilities. So this is a center for expression, healing, and discovery. So in this center, we have a mission to create a conducive environment to nurture the artistic, athletic, and intellectual potential of children through creative arts. As I wind up, I would like to tell you one story. Once there was a little girl living in a farm at the countryside. And one evening, she was taking a walk with her dog along a concrete path. She saw a beautiful pink flower with 2 green leaves on the side. She went closer to this flower, down on her knees, Who fixed you in this crack? She murmured as she tried to reach out and pull the flower from the crack. But she was amazed. The flower was stuck. It had sent its roots deep beneath the concrete surface, and through the crack it grew and bloomed. How can this happen? The little girl asked. Well, aren't these children on the street just like the flower? When we nurture them, when we care for them, and we nourish their abilities, they can bloom. So my organization, Obeno, which is a word in my mother tongue, which means a baby pouch or a carrier, will endeavor to provide these to the children. But where is everybody? Everybody is you. Everybody is me. We are everybody. Thank you, everybody.